But there are the questions of contracts. Most contracts are Olympic cycles, you know, and so
Mhm.
you have college kids, NCAA kids that did not have a senior season. Um, you have professionals that cannot prove themselves, and you have an Olympic year next year. So what happens if your contract ends this year, but you know you have next year? Most people, as even the shoe companies, are not making the money that they normally, you know, and so they're trying to watch their own back, let alone you got now athletes trying to make a living for themselves. So there's a reality of income, of contracts, you know, and like I said, I'm speaking to meeting directors daily, and just saying, of course, you cannot say when we have competitions, but when this store is open, when the travel ban is lifted, when it's safe to compete again, are you willing to do a later season? We had Doha in October last year, so you know athletes are willing to do it. Many of the meeting directors said, "Are athletes willing to compete in a empty arena?" You know, because maybe fans aren't willing. And I said, "Look at Doha, we're willing to do it." You know, so I try to make a joke out of this, but the reality is, this is our livelihood. This is how we survive. We have to compete because we love it, but we also have to compete because it's our job. And you know, this is where many of the athletes are just trying to say, if we have the opportunity, you know, we're not going to have USAs. How does that affect a lot of people? The scare or the reality from the athlete perspective is we don't have competitions, so we cannot make money. We are not able to train, so we're not going to be able to do, you know, so it's just this is the reality. If we have sponsors, we have obligations. You know, of course some are saying just post on social media, but majority are, we are paying you for an appearance, we're paying you to go somewhere, to show up somewhere, to speak somewhere, and all those avenues are stopped. You know, if I'm getting paid to do a speaking engagement, that income is gone. If you know, if I'm paid to go do a signing again, that is gone. So this is what the athletes are feeling. You know, we have contractual obligations. If you have to compete 5 times a year, am I going to have 5 competitions? That fear of, well, of course it's going to affect me now, but what about next year if I don't have a contract? So this is what we're feeling at the moment.
Are brands and sponsors having those conversations with the athletes to address that scenario? To that, if competition can happen, I mean, what happens?
Yeah, so that is now what we're and it's funny you say that, because this is what Emma and I have spoken about as of last night. You know, how are we going to strategically reach out to the sponsors that everyone knows? You know, to say, hey, you don't have to be detailed, you don't have to hone in on any athlete, but conceptually, you know, what is the plan for over the next 12 months? Are you extending contracts? Are you, because we understand the situations they're in, and we hope that they understand the situations we're in, but we would like to go back to the athletes and say, you don't have to assume, you don't have to worry about, this is actually how they're planning on proceeding, you know, in these times. And sometimes you know, they say truth hurts, but at least it's better to know what you're in than, you know, to put things in your head that actually may not even be there, you know, be the truth. And so this is actually, you know, one of our next goals that we like to, you know, and we're meeting on Saturday, but this is one thing we're trying to tackle immediately. Just reaching out and just being, you know, getting on a level field and to say, hey, just let us know what the plan is, so we can go back to the athletes and say, well, we heard from Puma, we heard from Adidas, we heard from Saucony, we heard from, and you know, this is how they plan on handling the next 12 months.